Hi, do you know what autism is? What do parents feel? What pain is experienced when their child suffers from illness? When the doctor suddenly asks, will you abandon your child? When a child can simply take a cup and drink, or can put on socks. Autism is a sentence, and medicine is helpless in this case. But if there's an entrance to the disease, there should be a way out. Watch the amazing story of getting out of autism.
Eugene, we have arrived to the kindergarten. Unfasten your seatbelt. Well done. Come out. Eugene, close the door, please. Close it. This story began a few months ago. During our club classes on hypnosis, we discovered a special state of consciousness, a state of parasomnambulism. And in these states, we started to get a reliable, objective information about everything. And we started to provide people with consultations, as a lot of people want to know what happened in the past and what will happen in future. And once an old lady turned to us for such a consultation. She asked about her whole family and what was ahead of them. There was a child, her grandson. He had autism, he didn't speak. And when we began to dive and share the information about his life, we saw a blockage in the structure of his psyche and we simply destroyed it. Imagine our surprise when in 3 weeks his granny wrote that the child began to talk. He began to pronounce letters during training with his father. In spring, we received a letter from his mother of the charming child Eugene, who was diagnosed with autism and a psycho-speech development delay. And we started to work. Tell us about your child, just a few words. I am Eugene's mother. He is a charming, wonderful child. He was born without any defects, any deviations. He was developing as an ordinary child up to 1 year. There were no problems. And after he turned 1 year old, just in a few days after the DTP vaccination, we noticed that something wrong began to happen to our child. Something incomprehensible for us.
Working with Eugene, one of the first things I noticed was that autism appeared after vaccination. Not like caused by vaccination, but was activated after it. The true reason was much deeper. It was karmic story deals with his parents.
The child lost the contact with reality. He turned inward. His condition became, to describe it in terms easy to understand, it's like to look from the outside at a person who has fallen to thinking. You are calling him and he simply doesn't react. That was the condition of our child. Of course, we as parents began to worry about this condition. We began to turn to doctors, and gradually we were led to the fact that our child has autism. When we went to a certain doctor into his office and we were asked, are you going to abandon the child? That was the moment I realized that our case was a very serious one. Later, Eugene went through a very difficult period. His condition didn't get worse, but he shrank into himself deeper and deeper. Neither more nor less than we began to lose him, psychologically and emotionally. The child stopped to respond to us, stopped to notice us. He passed by us like by an empty space. When we came up to him, trying to hug him, the child began to scream and to push us away. Such a difficult period of time began, which was very hard to come to terms with. and even now it's hard for me to bring it up.
Женечка, сынулькин, сынуль. Женя, Женя, Жень, Жень. Ну повернись сюда. Женькин.
After a while, Eugene developed another health problem: gluten intolerance. The child couldn't eat wheat products, so we were prohibited to eat everything containing wheat, like cookies, loaf, bread, which he liked so much. And we faced another difficult problem: how to feed our child. Visiting the doctors gave us nothing. We were prescribed nootropics, sedatives, and as to nutrition, we were told feed the child with zucchini. And these nootropics, sedative, did they help? Yes, they did. For about a year, we worked accordingly to the scheme given us by psychiatrists, neurologists. We gave him prescribed pills, made injections with nootropics. But the child's condition was getting worse. He became more aggressive. His normal sleep disappeared. The child became inadequate. To say in few words, the kid became inadequate. It was impossible to go out with him, to stand in line, to go for a walk outside. He put his hand out, ran away in different directions. He could jump out into the road. The sense of danger had completely gone. If I tried to stop him, he twisted his arm, shrieked, screamed. He could fall to the ground or stamp it with his feet. He gave an impression of an animal, of a little animal, a beast.
Женечка, ну ты уже одну дверцу оторвал, сынок. Давай не будем стучать, сыночек.
And when I entered the internet and saw that information that Natalia and Andrew successfully worked with the girl who was in autistic condition, and in the same breath I had hope that this was the place where we would get help. I felt it from inside that exactly Natalia and Andrew would help us. And during the work itself, did you have any doubts during the work? Would it help it or not? And this is where the very interesting moments began. When we were corresponding with Natalia, she said that the work would take 2 days. We talked with her on the 9th of April. I agreed, as we had used to wait even more time before. So we returned to our routine. And there was a situation in the evening when my kid was in front of the computer watching a cartoon, and I was near him also watching a cartoon. And at some point my child turned towards me and gave me that look like he had seen me for the first time in his life. He understood that there is another person around him, and this person is his mom. He took a good long look at my face, looked into each of my eyes, at my hair, at my body. He was just scanning me from head to toe. This gave me shivers. I didn't expect this. I looked at him and I got an insight. Probably they are working with him. Yes. In 5 minutes I saw my cell phone light it up. It was a message from Natalia. She said that they had just finished their work. We work with children more than one time. In fact, at first we work with some children every day, and with the others several days a week or two. The further, the rarer. At first, there is a lot of work, because step by step we extricate his consciousness, his soul, and we help him to take the controls over his body. Emotions appeared. The child began to notice what was happening around him. He began to notice the subjects. He began to show an interest. It was impossible to attract him with any toy before. And he began to come up himself to take a toy and to explore it, and so on. That's the changes have begun to occur so quickly that it was unusual and incredible for us. We were sitting quietly and watched because it didn't happen for so many years, and then it flowed all in once. My husband and I were just sitting and watching with our mouths opened. One day something new happened, the next day something new, and the next day something new. In fact, autistic children require a long-term work, and some tiny changes or skills gradually appear after a hard work of the specialists, speech therapists, psychologists. Indeed, usually these are the tiny steps forward in the developing of the motor and speech skills. Here I can admit major changes, which kids usually have to practice during years. But after working with Natalia Zaitseva, these skills appeared during several months. We didn't have any rollbacks. We used to have situations like this. You have a lesson with Eugene, teach him something in a few days, you start from scratch. The child doesn't remember what has been done to him. Now you don't even need to show him what to do. I have a feeling that he already knows this. He comes up and simply does this. But every mother might know what is it like when a child is not able simply to take his cup and drink. And to teach him to hold a cup, you need to spend from 1 to 2 months to teach him take it with his hands. Eugene didn't have any motor skills. He couldn't hold neither a cup nor a spoon, neither to pick a piece of paper nor to unwrap a candy. All these skills were completely absent. And at this moment, he is able to pick up such tiny objects which even I can take with my fingers on my hand. My child does this brilliantly. We already perceive him as a neurotypical child. The only thing is his speech. It hasn't developed as it should yet. Otherwise, he is absolutely the same as his co-equals. He runs, plays, and laughs like all the others. If you talk about the emotional sphere, imagine when you haven't seen for 4 years your child smiles or laughs, or he is joyful when a mother or father comes up to him. And then this all happens at once. You can't even imagine how much joy it brought to us. We were so glad, so happy. Okay, show me your nose, cheeks, forehead, your eyes. Well done. Your head, ears, your belly. Great. Do like this. And now clap. Clap with your hands. With your hands. And now bye-bye. Good. And now give me a hug. emotions are the most meaningful and important. Sometimes it even doesn't work out to establish an emotional contact. This is extremely difficult, almost impossible. And here the mom admits that he began to hug and kiss. It's just incredible. I am simply admired by the results. It is impossible in such a short period of time. Such huge work has been done, and the mom admits that she has a neurotypical child. I consider this impossible. How does Eugene feel now? Today Eugene feels very well, comfortable. Now we take Eugene to the kindergarten. Earlier, before the work, Eugene was able to attend a kindergarten only for 15-20 minutes. I took Eugene to the kindergarten and I stood outside waiting for the nursery teacher to call me to take him home because he screamed, freaked out and cried. I couldn't let this run its course because this is a trauma for a child. That's why I used to take him home. Now, simply in 2 weeks after the work, Eugene attends the kindergarten from 9 till 12. He feels excellent there. The nursery teachers admit that he plays with other children and interacts with them. Whereas previously he used to huddle himself up in the corner and played on his own, then now he is around children playing. It is possible to catch his attention, to kindle his interest. He feels absolutely normal and comfortable in the kindergarten. It is simply not typical for the autistic children. Usually they behave very distracted, huddle themselves somewhere up in a corner, don't respond to the addressed speech to other children. Thus, the communicative skills of such kids are out of whack. Even if they regularly attend a communicative group, even in this case, the communicative skill would develop very slowly. I meet teachers I know who haven't seen me for a while, and they haven't seen Eugene for a while, and all of them noticed that Eugene's behavior has changed all that much. The way he used to behave and now. They see his progress. One of the teachers said, I don't see an autist in your child. These were the most wonderful words which I've heard recently. This is just great. And please tell our viewers, how old is your child now? Eugene is 5 years old now. Just a little time has passed since April, and we have already such great results. I think that in 2 years, Eugene won't need any additional consultations. The child has almost escaped this condition. He has gone out of the autism. We still need to practice speech skills for Eugene to start talking. He is great in spelling the words after me. We have already reached 12 words. He is able to repeat 12 words after me. Pronounce goose. One more time.
Еще раз. Гу. Гу. Гусь. Гу. Ну подожди.
Let's say it.
Давай скажем. Гу.
Well done. We have a new word.
У нас новое слово. Гусь.
In future, I'm 100% sure that my child will become normal and that everything is going to be great. I don't even have another thought. We don't even think the other way. Everything is going to be great. I'm saying it with such pleasure, simply with pleasure, that I'm glad, I'm happy that we have got into Natalia's experiment. I'm happy for the results we have. I'm happy for that you and Andrew have became a family for us. A real family. Thank you, goodbye. All the best. Actually, the story of Eugene's mother is a shock for me. We work with subconsciousness with kids. You know, it's like at the bottom of the ocean when the tectonical plates have moved. It seemed not a big deal. The earth has moved a little bit, but you are not able to imagine what a huge storm, what a tsunami it will cause outside on the surface. And that's how we being inside the subconsciousness don't see the hell where the parents live. We don't see how a healthy 1.5-year-old child suddenly turns into a self-contained beastie. How the child loses his emotions, loses the contact with his parents, how he stops being adequate. This is terrible. May the God keep you away from such situations. In fact, the way out of such conditions is simple. I was sitting and perceiving. I haven't realized before what exactly are we doing. We just do this, we are good in this, we see those programs, we see what we need to change in the subconsciousness, but I never knew what is going on the surface and what the parents are going through. Today's story really plunged me into shock. Everything that Irina had to go through, she deserves a memorial in her lifetime. Let all the people be safe from this, and this wouldn't happen to anyone.
Everything you just saw is impossible from the modern science standpoint. But if the facts contradict the existing picture of the world, then it's necessary to revise the theory, not the facts.
Yes, it was very difficult and scary. We couldn't even imagine that such thing would happen to our child. Eugene's condition, it was totally inadequate. The diet, zucchini only. We even melted the sugar into the syrup. Then, this whole thing with nootropic treatment, the condition was getting worse. Endless blood tests, then the treatment with vitamins and minerals. I had to give Eugene a vitamin every 40 minutes after a meal, and I could barely make him eat. It was crazy. There were medical manipulations, micropolarization of the brain with zero result, magnetotherapy for 3 months, everyday visits to the clay pit and chalk pit by the doctor's recommendation. Shoot, I bring it up now and shiver. It was really hard, incredibly hard. I cried my heart out. My husband has lost 20 kilograms. I've lost 19. We are both gray-haired now. Your work with Andrew is priceless. This is the fact. There is still room for improvement, but everything goes as it should. For all of your efforts, for your work and interest to this topic, thank you. Thank you very much. We bow our heads. Your help is huge, really huge.